This story is set in a world where both humans and beastmen coexist. Now, naturally, the humans discriminate against them, which I'm sure is some kind of phobic, so the beastmen have made their own city to live without worry. And this is where the main character comes in. Michiru is a raccoon kind of creature that we first see riding atop a bus trying to reach the city, Anima. Unfortunately for her, she's hunted by some gang who seems to really have it out for fluffy animals. However, she's saved with the help of a shady mink beastman named Marie and her crew, and afterwards they escort Michiru to the city. Upon arriving, though, Michiru finds the city darkened and seemingly abandoned. Suddenly, she's surrounded by shadows. But then it turns out this nightmare was only the start of a festival celebrating the city's 10th anniversary. So she enjoys the events, drinks some totally not Red Bull, and then her wallet gets stolen. So maybe humans and beastmen aren't so different after all. While tracking down the thief, Michiru gets caught up in a bombing. Talk about a day for the poor gal. Luckily, a wolf beastman named Shirou saves her. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is more of our standard issue badass main character. He's no guts, but he'll have to do. Upon discovering that this bomb was planted by mercenaries, Wolf Boy here starts trailing this fox at top speed just to get stopped by yet another bomb. However, he survives it. After finding out that these mercenaries got paid by the anti-beastman human faction trying to sabotage the festival, Shirou violently beats up the attackers. Look at our boy on some Ultra Instinct vengeance shit, dodging bullets while kicking some ass. Now Lion Man here is really feeling himself, so he powers up and charges full speed at the lone wolf. And since this isn't Nat Geo Wild, the wolf with plot armor beats up the so-called king of the jungle. However, before delivering the killing blow, he's stopped by Michiru's mysterious powers. She tells him that they don't deserve to die, even if they were hired by the humans. She also vouches for the humans, saying that they're not all bad, revealing that she herself used to be a human. Shirou remains doubtful of Michiru's claims that she's a human, so he takes her to a doctor who confirms that she's a beast. She still claims that she used to be a human, so to prove it, she goes to meet with Grand-Grandma in Rabbit Town to retrieve her stolen wallet, which holds her human ID. There, Michiru begins teaching orphan kids how to read and write in return for her wallet. But, as all things have so far, shit turns sideways, and Grand-Grandma gets pressured into selling the kids to pay off a debt to a gang. While attempting to escape with the children in tow, Michiru gains the ability to change the size of her arms to free herself. Back on the ground, she's attacked and choked out by this lioness lady, rendering her unconscious. But, to her luck, the Wolfman shows up again, swooping in with a kick to the head, like a true gender equality advocate. This rescues her and the kids. Soon after, Grand-Grandma is arrested, and Michiru becomes upset with Shirou for not intervening sooner. She also provides her student ID, confirming that she once was human. The raccoon girl then declares her hatred for beastmen due to their cruelty, as well as disregard for life. Afterwards, she vows to find a cure to her beastmanitis and leave the city. The next day, we see Wolf Boy sniffing the ID to check if it really is authentic. This gives us some glances at Raccoon Girl's past and how she turned into a beastman after her friend turned into one. Upon seeing all of this, Wolfie storms into the room, grabs the girl, and locks her up, not only for her own safety, but for the safety of the beastmen. Supposedly, if word comes out that humans can become beastmen, they'll panic and attack the city. Soon after, the mayor of Anima-City, Rose, approaches Shirou about stopping bombers from attacking the city's medical center. Supposing the center may be able to help cure her alleged disease, Michiru reveals her condition to Rose and insists she help her. Even though Wolf Boy protests, the mayor insists and gives her a new phone to call her guardian whenever she is in trouble. So they split up. Shirou goes with the police to disable several bombs scattered around the city, while Michiru goes to the hospital to look for anything sus, if you will. Michiru finds a gang trying to sneak into the hospital and eavesdrops on them, but they catch her in 4K. Luckily though, Wolfie appears at the right time and saves the day. Now, although Michiru and Shirou stop the gang from sneaking into the center, an explosion goes off, which Shirou deduces was caused by two doctors trying to eliminate evidence. One of the doctors tries to hold Michiru hostage, but as always, Shirou manages to save her. While hanging out alone, Michiru stumbles across a live stream of a girl her same age. In the background of the stream, she notices a familiar wolf statue. She then realizes that the live stream is happening very close by. After walking around, she eventually sees Nina, and then sees darkness as she gets knocked out by one of Nina's bodyguards. It turns out that Nina is the dolphin beastman daughter of the gang boss Giuliano Flip, who probably doesn't know that his daughter has been posting on human social media platforms to befriend them. While talking with Nina about the mainland and her old life, Michiru somehow regains the ability to turn into her human form. Seeing this, Nina asks if Michiru wants to join her in attending a human party, and although she's worried, Michiru still goes with the flow, riding the dolphins back to her promised land. Initially, the furry cosplaying folk here seem to accept Nina, even after she accidentally reveals herself as a beastman. You know, as you do. Meanwhile, Flip is heading to start a war with the humans to get his daughter back, but he gets stopped by Wolfie, who offers to bring his dear daughter back to avoid any war with the humans. So, he calls Michiru, who is currently in the bathroom, hearing how the folk in the party don't actually like them. And Shirou tells them to bring their asses back to the dock so they can get back. When Michiru goes to get Nina, she finds out that the partygoers have locked her in a fish tank, with their reasoning being that they saw her tired and figured that putting her in there would help. Evidently, though, this doesn't, as she is a mammal who doesn't have gills and can't breathe underwater. So Michiru uses her transformation powers to save Nina, and the two get back to Anima-City. Despite the incident, Nina is still happy about the experience and their time together. Speaking of experiences, let's talk deadly baseball. While watching a baseball game, Michiru's powers catch the attention of the Bears team, so when their pitcher gets injured, they ask her to substitute for him. As their new pitcher, she helps them win their first victory, and after having so much fun for the first time after becoming a beastman, Michiru continues to play with them, unaware that their coach, Dante, has been gambling on them losing. Shirou discovers that Dante was the first beastman to play professional baseball, but he got removed from the game after violently lashing out at his bigoted hecklers and teammates. During the finals match, the Bears team gets bribed to lose, but Dante's attempt to steal all the gambled money for himself leads to the crowd getting angry once they discover their money has been taken. Behind the scenes, Shirou works to resolve the matter, while Michiru shows the importance of what baseball truly means by smashing a wall that did nothing to her. That said, it did the trick and fired up the fighting spirit within her teammates' hearts, as well as the love of the sport in the crowd's hearts. So, despite the Bears ultimately losing, they were massively appreciated for playing fair and square. Inspired by Michiru's courage and dedication to the game, Dante also rekindles his love for baseball. He quits gambling and decides to dedicate himself to training so that he and his team can actually win the next championship. With things going back to normal, Michiru finds herself in need of money to pay for her phone bill, so she decides to take a job from the Weasel to distribute water containers in the slums. There, she meets with her little chubby baseball teammate who owes some money to the Mafia. Unfortunately for him, they take him and plan to burn the little fella as an example. However, as fate would have it, this event leads Michiru to encounter Nazuna, her best friend and classmate from school, who caught the beastmanitis before she did. With the ability to turn into a white fox, she has become the figurehead of the Silver Wolf cult dedicated to the mythology of the Silver Wolf, Ginro, the sacred deity of the beastmen. Wanting to help cure Nazuna's condition as well, Michiru arranges for Nazuna to meet with Mayor Rose. However, Nazuna takes advantage of this situation to secure a settlement for the Silver Wolf group. She states that she prefers being an idol and no longer has any need for friendship, leaving Michiru disheartened. In anger, Michiru renounces her friendship with Nazuna over her selfish actions, and that's where the episode ends. Little bear from earlier is still alive. After that unfortunate series of events, Michiru meets with an albatross beastman named Pinga, whose species has faced trouble migrating due to international flight restrictions imposed on them by humans. Meanwhile, Alan Silvasta, head of Silvasta Pharmaceuticals, meets with Mayor Rose and Shirou and advises against giving the Silver Wolf cult refuge in Anima-City. Meanwhile, Pinga flies Michiru around the city and is generally just a nice guy. However, Shirou suspects that Pinga may be a terrorist. So Shirou spends the night atop the roofs until he spots Pinga approaching the mayor's office. Shirou leaps at him, and they engage in an aerial battle that the wolf here obviously loses, as he's pretty out of his own element, being a fish out of water, or rather a wolf in the sky. Eventually, he's able to stop Pinga with the help of Michiru's surprising new flight ability. From this, they find that Pinga's planned terrorism was nothing more than a bluff to get close enough to meet the mayor. So, Shirou decides to let him go. Meanwhile, Alan is attacked by a flying hitman, but is rescued by Nazuna, who cannot fly. Following Alan's rescue, support for the Silver Wolf cult increases, leading to their refuge not only being approved, but also to Michiru's quote-unquote friend moving next to her. And yes, the fox girl still acts like a major bitch, but just as Shirou and Michiru were going to visit the prison to find out the hitman's motives, Yaba, one of the doctors that Shirou stomped before, goes berserk following a visit from Silverwolf priest Boris Cliff, who seemed to know him from a previous life. Anyways, as Shirou and Michiru struggle against the powered-up beastman, Shirou is forced to reveal his true identity as Ginro, the legendary wolf, to defeat Yaba. While Shirou recovers, Mayor Rose explains to Michiru how Shirou became the Silver Wolf over 1,000 years ago, when the beastmen of his village were allegedly wiped out by humans, and through the blood of his fallen comrades, he was reborn as the mythical beast that served as the beastman protector for 1,000 years. After telling her this story, the mayor asks the raccoon rat to keep it a secret. Michiru says yes, but on the conditions that she can tell one person. This is when Wolf Boy shows up and tells her to suit herself, knowing that she'll probably tell that one person anyways. While Shirou investigates what made Yaba go berserk, Michiru attempts to convince Nazuna that the Silver Wolf is real, but fails. She then sees Nazuna getting abducted, so she breaks into the medical center to rescue her, only to discover that she's there for an MRI scan. Alan then tells Michiru that she and Nazuna became beastmen as a result of a Sylvasta Pharmaceutics blood transfusion mishap, and he is working with Nazuna to develop a cure. He reveals that it was his idea to have Nazuna pretend to be the Silver Wolf to give the beastmen something to believe in, a religion of their own that doesn't center on humans. When Michiru returns, she tells her boy all that happened. Meanwhile, Alan has a clandestine meeting with the Prime Minister and offers him some new technology. Michiru and Shirou encounter another berserk beastman and attempt to take him down when a group of drones called angle machines appear and capture it with tranquilizer darts. They follow the drones to the medical center, where they find that they were sent by Alan, who tells them that the berserk effect is due to Nervicil syndrome, the result of stress caused by multiple species of beastmen living together, and claims that this is what wiped out Shirou's village. Alan reveals that he intends to prevent the syndrome by developing a vaccine to turn beastmen into regular humans, but Shirou becomes furious at the idea. Alan asks Michiru and Nazuna to hold a concert to calm the beastmen until the vaccine is complete. Meanwhile, Mayor Rose plans to dismantle Anima-City to disperse the beastmen to keep them safe. However, when she goes to inform the Prime Minister of her decision, he abducts her and places her under arrest, revealing that he is working with Alan. Mayor Rose escapes captivity and heads back to Anima-City with Pinga's help, who flies her over the guarded border. Marie informs Shirou that Nazuna, at Boris's suggestion, is planning to reveal that she is a human during her concert. Shirou tells Michiru that Nazuna's confession will trigger Nervicil syndrome, so Michiru convinces Nazuna at the last minute not to confess, only for Boris to step in and expose her himself. The surprising betrayal sets off a chain reaction of the syndrome within the beastmen. The shock reawakens Shirou's memory, revealing that Alan was right, that the beastmen of his village had been the ones who began destroying each other, not the humans. The realization drives him to despair, and he succumbs to the syndrome. He then attacks and bites Michiru. Shirou suddenly returns to normal after biting Michiru. Meanwhile, Alan informs Prime Minister Shiramizu that their plan to eliminate all beastmen has begun. Mayor Rose discovers that Michiru and Nazuna's blood can neutralize savage tendencies in beastmen and cure Nervicil syndrome due to their unique DNA, explaining why Shirou suddenly returned to normal. When Michiru and Shirou confront Alan at the medical center, he reveals himself as a purebred beastman who believes that others, including Shirou, are impure hybrids. Michiru finds a recording of Shirou's howling on her phone, and she finds that it calms the rampaging infected beastmen. So she works with Nazuna and Marie to broadcast it across the city. Alan, in his beastman form, attempts to stop them, but Shirou defeats him, aided by Michiru's antibodies now coursing through his blood. While Michiru broadcasts the signal, Shirou uses his howling to calm the beastmen until the serum finishes and can be widely distributed. With Alan's conspiracy revealed to the public, Mayor Rose works towards reconciliation between beastmen and humans, opening Anima-City to promote mutual understanding and cooperation. Nazuna becomes a real idol star to beastmen and humans alike when footage of her helping a little kid surfaces to the public. As for Michiru, she decides to stay the way she is. And that's the end.